Hello again.
Hello, there he is.
Hello.
Hello.
So we're in. So you're in Norway.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oslo. Great. So have you just watched The Day After Peace?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, this morning.
Yeah. It was 20 minutes ago.
Oh wow, that's wild. That's great. So did you guys? I mean, look, I can, I look the update since you saw that film. I mean, it ended in Afghanistan, and we saw how the day can work, in the most extreme situation. And at that point, it was fascinating because you could hear the cynics saying, the day's never going to work, and all those things that from the movie. And for me, cynicism kills people because of course it stops you from trying. And and it was really obviously an incredible thing that the Afghanistan result happened, because at that point the cynic had very little to say, and we were really going to be able to kind of gather momentum as a consequence of proving the mountain could be climbed. And that was really interesting, and that's really what's happened from when that movie ended to where we are today. It's just been incredible growth. Like really incredible growth. And, it's like sort of stage 1 was creating the day, stage 2 was proving it could work, and stage 3, where we are right now, is institutionalizing it, making that day self-sustaining, making sure that every human being on the planet knows about the day. And, that's going very successfully. And in 2012, there were about 280 million people aware of the day, 280 million people aware of the day. And about 2% of those 280 million people would have behaved less violently. So if you look at an anti-smoking campaign or an anti-drink drive campaign, those campaigns are run because they're successful. So about 6 to 8% of the people who see those campaigns will change their behaviour. Exactly the same is true of Peace Day. If you have millions of people involved in peaceful activities in schools and universities, and at homes around domestic violence or NGOs or music or whatever it might be, if you have millions of people thinking about peace and participating in that peace process, then a percentage of them are clearly going to change their behaviour. So you see that most noticeably in a school. The children are expressing themselves through art, poetry, literature, music, sport, whatever it might be. They're thinking so consciously about peace and their relationships that the bullying disappears. And you can measure that. So awareness of Peace Day means less people will be violent, a percentage of those people, which of course is staggering and amazing, because for every 100 people you tell, potentially 4 of those people are going to be less violent. That's pretty profound. So in 2012 we saw about 208 million people aware, and in this year it will be, the target that I set was around 600 million. We're going to exceed that target. And we hope that about 3 billion people will be aware of the day by 2016. 3 billion people aware of this day by 2016. And we believe that we'll achieve that goal. So it's been very exciting. It's amazing. Howard Buffett just came forward and has given us $10 million. It's an enormous amount of money for the next 3 years. But also, I continue to work with some of the largest corporations in the world, who I also strike licensing deals with, who also give us money. The model I use is I treat Peace One Day in my mind as if it were a Formula One car. And actually, I'm on the, Peace One Day is on the front of the Lotus F1 car. So if you look at the Lotus F1 car, you'll see that the front of that car is the Peace One Day logo. But when I sort of look at it like a Formula One car, it's like, because I'm not educated, I have no academic background, I have no qualifications, but I've always liked motor racing as a young boy. I was fascinated by it, and I noticed that the car runs around the track, and it's run around the track because it has logos on the side. That's why it runs fast. That's why it goes fast. So that little thought made me think, well, could a similar model be created with Peace One Day? Could this peace car effectively, if you like, move because I effectively build a relationship with a corporation that they give me the finance to run the car, and I give them something in return, which they can then communicate to their consumers and to their workforce about their investment in relation to a more peaceful and sustainable world without them controlling anything that we do or having any editorial over anything that we do. And that's exactly what we do. And that's why we're moving. And it's exciting because ultimately it's all about inspiring and empowering and engaging. But I'll stop there because I've given you the spiel, you know. That's what we're doing. It's working. It's just amazing. Scotland. Now, where did I go in Norway? I went to this beautiful place in Norway, up in the north, I think it was. It's not Skopje, is it? No, that's in Russia, isn't it? Anyway, I had the most beautiful time in Norway. Anyway, but so look, let's answer some of your questions. I mean, I've told you a little bit about Peace One Day. Let's go over to you. What do you want to ask, or what can I tell you, or you know?
Yeah, I just heard about Peace One Day this morning, and I kind of struggle to grasp what it is you do. I heard you have a lot you're an institution, and you launch coalitions, but what separates you from other charities?
Well, excuse me. Are you struggling now to know what we do?
Yeah,
Still?
I
Okay.
heard you talk about it, but can you elaborate a bit? What is it that
Okay,
you
yeah. Well, listen, what we do. So we created. I mean, listen. There wasn't a Peace Day, but there's a Mother's Day, and there's an AIDS Day, and there's a Christmas Day, and there's a whatever kind of a day. You know, there's lots of days, and we all really care about peace. So, and we talk about peace, and it's a big deal. So let's have a day when that happens on a global scale. A Peace Day, fine, you get that. That's, you know, you've seen the film. And on that day, incredible things can occur. You decrease violence, you inspire, you empower, you create windows of opportunity for polio vaccinations, you get all of that. So on the day, you can save a whole lot of lives, and you can create incredible constructive dialogue, and our world can come together in a way that it's never come together before, potentially. Separate from politics and religion, a day of global unity. You know, the United Nations, you know, the charter begins, we the peoples, we the peoples. Well, when are the peoples going to step into the equation, and when are we going to unite? And that's what I believe the 21st September is about. The day when our world comes together as one in the name of peace and sustainability, and there are a million benefits to that, as you know. We can talk about that for hours and hours. We know all of the benefits. So that's really it. Yeah, and what we want to do is we want to tell people that the day exists so that they then do things. You know, the theme that we had running was who will you make peace with? So there might be somebody in your own personal family that you've fallen out with, a brother that you don't talk to, a sister you don't talk to, or a dad or a mum or whatever it might be. You might have a friend that you haven't spoken to. You know, this is a day where our families can come together and we can say, sorry to my brother. You know, that improves the quality of the relationships of our entire family, that we can make peace. I think one really important thing is listen, the great war that humanity faces is not one with guns. There's a terrible problem in Syria. There are other problems all over the world, like, you know, the Democratic Republic of Congo, Eastern DRC, where I've just come back from, one of the most horrific, violent places in the world, where, you know, millions of people, 5.4 million people have died since '92. You know, so there are these terrible situations that are going on. But actually, the great war that humanity faces is the one in your home, and the one in your school, and your university, and in your street, and in your community. The same as mine, and the same as the richest places in the world and the poorest places in the world. Domestic violence is the killer. It is the war that humanity faces. It is the war. And it's everywhere. And 1 in 3 women in their life is going to be injured. 1 in 3. That's horrific. And that's going on around you right now. And me. And that's really what Peace Day is all about. It's all about, and that's why the largest coalition of domestic violence organisations that's ever been created is centred around Peace Day. The largest coalition of non-governmental around Peace Day. A coalition of faiths where people are praying all over the world is centred around Peace Day. Same with students, universities, you know, media, corporations. So what this is all about is about unity. It's about intercultural cooperation on a global scale, which survival. Yeah, this is about us singing together as one, when we've never, ever done it. And if we could stop it for a day and reduce violence on a global scale, what would that do to the young minds that haven't become cynical yet? That would grow up going, well, actually, our world can unite. We do stand together as one in the name of peace and sustainability. We are connected. We are communicating. We do care as a global community about the plight of humanity. You know, and a day isn't the answer. It's not a panacea to the world's problems. Of course it's not. I'm totally realistic. But it is something beautifully profound that we must aspire to and create. And that's really what it's about. So what sets us out from other charities? Well, nothing really. I mean, apart from the fact that we created a day of peace, and we're going to make sure that that day is known by the world. And as a consequence of that, beautiful creativity happens, which is significant and profound. And, we're actually not even a charity. We're a non-profit organisation. So everything that we get in, we spend. There is no profit. We're like, this thing called a social entrepreneur. We're here to do well and do good. That's what we want to do. We want to do well in the world, and we want to do good as individuals. I want to pay the max I can. I want people to grow up knowing that, you can have a nice car and you can